I foolishly set a deadly trap for myself. I got a glass of water, but I also forgot that I have a glass of birch beer in here. The birch beer isn't beer, it's not alcoholic, but it doesn't have any artificial coloring in it, so it's also clear and it's very sweet. So now I have like drink roulette. I put a straw in the water, so I'll remember which one is the water, but they both look identical. So if I accidentally like sputter, I drank the wrong thing. That's what's happening tonight. Good evening. Thanks for joining me. This is not my usual night to stream. I know there's a lot going on, as always. But we're gonna stream tonight, and there's a reason. Let me get my music down and my camera up. I'm gonna turn that down like way low for now. I'm gonna just go into my scene here. Hi, everybody. Kind of low. I was messing with my microphone earlier. Hopefully there's no weird sound glitches. I'm getting ready to do karaoke at some point in the future. Oh, no, look at that. I messed something up already. And, because of that, I was doing a lot of mic adjustments. But I'm not doing that tonight. I'm not even doing it in the next couple of weeks because I put in my order for emotes to talk to my emote artist. So no pressure on him. Those are done when they're done. I don't worry about that. We won't be doing that until they're done. Lag on my model today. I don't know. Maybe I'm just hyper aware of it because I was trying to set up for singing and like singing. They're like, it's gonna be lag. It did just start. No, we just started. Just started. 8 o'clock is my usual start time. I like to let the music run for like 5 or 10 minutes because that way you get over the first ad break. You know how it is. I'm trying to do less ad breaks, but it is what it is. So welcome tonight. This is an off night for me, but because I had the Lethal Company collab last night, it was really fun. It was a fun little stream. I had an opportunity to do that, so I just jumped on it. But there's also something else I wanted to do this week, which was talk about the Maid Phantom redebut. Because I find that if I don't do these things when they're kind of like new and sort of relevant, makes it a little bit less interesting. So we're doing it tonight so I can talk about it. During my subathon, and I'm going to go ahead and turn the music down now because we don't need it all the way through. During my subathon, I'm going to mostly run without BGM tonight because we're watching videos, and if we watch videos, I hate to stop my music. During my subathon, she debuted her new channel, or her old channel came back. A little backstory. This is a streamer I've been following for some time under different accounts, under different names. Under a different account, under a different name. Yeah, so we're going to talk about her newest model. Actually, let's just go ahead and get right to it. I don't need to be wasting any more time. Let's just jump in. This was the karaoke stream that she did the other night vertically. And I said, Pat Ware and I were both watching it. And I said, Pat Ware, I don't think they're going to have to do the unarchived thing anymore with karaoke because if you're not in corporate, you don't necessarily have to do it unarchived. And this is indeed still archived. So this is a really good karaoke. It happens to be vertical video style. So if you're wondering why it's vertical, I think the hottest new thing for the algo is people like to do like shorts, so they post them in the vertical style. It's not actually a short. It's actually an hour and 40 minutes long, so there's nothing short about it. But I think it just is like an algo hack kind of thing. So sometimes they do it's a really, 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 really good karaoke stream. Oh, she's just such a good singer. It's an incredible stream. I basically just put it on just so we can take a look at not just this, but also her new rig. So what this redebut affords us as from an artistic standpoint is a really interesting opportunity. Now, y'all might know from my previous streams that I was a teacher, or I am still a teacher. I'm teaching computer science right now. But I used to also teach art. and specifically animation. I'm not much of a drawer, but I've done 3D modeling, texturing, lighting, and animation. So as an animator, my training is mostly in the 3D world, and my 3D modeling is like pretty rusty. Eventually I'm going to do a 3D avatar, but Lord knows when I'm going to get around to doing that. But I have done a lot of work with that stuff in the past, and I have my undergrad degree is actually in animation. I did animation history, and because she has the same art with a different rig, I think this is a really cool opportunity for us to look at a character that has the same exact art but different rigor, which you don't see that kind of opportunity often. So I thought it would be kind of neat to look at. And there's some other things in here that I want to talk about, but let me just go ahead and play the showcase, the rigor showcase, because this was just posted yesterday. And this is, he goes by Kevin, right? He's the one who does a lot. Yeah, the art is mostly, well, there's been more added to the art, so we'll look at it as well. Kevin here has done the rigging for a lot of VShojo. So he's rigged the art for Matar Khan's new outfit. He did Henya, I believe. And in fact, we can actually just look at the model showcase on his stream, because he's got quite a few. The bouncy rigs. So yeah, he's got some of Iron Mouse is here. Yeah, that Matar Khan outfit that I mentioned. I think we looked at that before on this stream. And then some others. So he's really prolific. He's done a lot of work for VShojo. And the newest one that just got posted is this one. So we'll just watch it real quick. And the music is really fun too. Kevin Cook's a little too hard. Yeah. She goes over them in the in her video as well. So we'll look at them, what she showed off in her debut. the mouth smoke is such a crack up. She didn't cover all these. No, I don't think so. I don't think she did all of them. Which is why we're looking at both this and that. But wait, let's go back real quick. First of all, gotta love the music. I'm sure it's like a public domain, like a ghost track, but it's just perfect for a little ghosty ghost. I want to go to her debut video as well. There we go. This is the one. Because she does go over some of the emotion toggles. I wonder if he's the puppeteer or if he has a script that runs the expressions. Well, you'd have to do a combination of both, I think, because like yeah, I mean, if you think maybe he's actually like wiggling and doing this part, and then but to actually swap expressions, you gotta push button. So there's a little bit of that going for it too. But yeah, I mean, yeah, they're on toggles. Yeah, so they're always a toggle. So you'd have to push button at the right time to get the expressions to come out. Let's go into her debut stream. I'm not gonna like analyze the entire debut stream, but what I want to do is talk about the rigging. In fact, we are fortunate enough that it wasn't too hard to find her graduation stream from before she came back, so that we can actually see the difference in the rigging from when this was originally rigged to when she re-debuted. This is not her 1.0. She did show her 1.0. So what she's actually her 2.0. It's only 3 hours. No, I know. And we already did watch it. We watched like 2 hours of it on my other stream. We've watched this before. But we're gonna just go into the actual, just the part that where she talks about the expressions and the rigging, because that's the part I'm really interested in talking about. The singing is also fantastic, but we'll just worry about the other thing. So she's, first of all, the smoke coming out of the mouth toggle. I don't know how to do that. It's very funny though. It's very funny. She's got smoke coming off of her head right now. Maybe she's cooking so hard that her brain is fried, and then there's smoke coming off of her head. I don't know.
Realizing now. Oh, I forgot my noise gate.
You're fine. You put your noise gate on.
Shoot. Oh, it's fine for today. It's fine for today, probably.
Get up when she first comes up. She's got the little swirly eyes, the little hypno eyes.
I'll turn them off for
And I think she's like sweating nervously. I think that's the animation that's happening here too. Very fun. The smoke is crazy. That's just crazy. That's funny. Come on, get up out of there.
Okay. I think I'm.
The swirly eyes.
Okay.
There we go. They're back. She's fixed it. Now she's not swirly eyes anymore. Yeah, so all those are toggles. Those are all toggles. You know, you push the button to activate those different emotions. So you've seen me do this. You've seen me do these a lot. She's got a lot of them though. Because you know the more cooking that's happening, the more toggles you're gonna get.
Well, hold on.
Hopefully it's not. No, it's not very loud. Okay, good.
Hold on.
Oh, and I don't want it to be too super loud. Well, we're gonna compare this to her previous rig because I think that's interesting. It's illustrative. It's interesting to see the differences in between this rig and the other one. So before I go too deep into this, like I said, her old streams were archived by somebody. So this is her 2.0, which is not new, which is from 2 years ago. And now look at the movement. Look at the movement on this model. Hang on, let's go back a little bit. So a lot of people have observed that when corporate rigs, this is not a corporate rig, this is still indie, and I'm not, first of all, when I'm talking about this is in no way a diss to this original rigger or the previous rigger that worked 2 years ago, because I think the technique of rigging, not necessarily just the talent of the people involved, but the actual technique of both the rigging and the motion capture suites that we use have improved drastically in the last 2 years. So when I started doing VTubing, which was also maybe 3 years ago almost at this point, I started like right around the time that like Myth debuted, because I was like, oh, this seems like a fun thing to do. But like I drew my own VTuber and it wasn't even like very, but the technology and the knowledge base exactly have been growing so fast. And this rig was done, yeah, good point. I was under time pressure because she was about to graduate and wanted to get this done. So this wasn't like completely finished. So I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying that this rigger sucks or anything like that. But I do think it's very illustrative to see the difference between the pretty much the same art. I mean, obviously some small tweaks were done, but the difference between a quickly done like rig that doesn't have a lot of extra bells and whistles versus like the fully done rig, I think it's just really interesting. So here you can see like when she tips to the side, for example, it kind of moves the whole shoulder area side to side, and there's less like turning in the torso from left to right because that's harder to do. So she definitely has like more of a stiff upper body motion here. And this is a VTube Studio thing, but you probably noticed me doing it all the time because I don't always lock my Z axis. So you might notice like the rolling back and forward. I have locked it in the past, but I do feel like you get a little more bounce if you don't lock it. So it just is kind of a push-pull kind of a thing.
I feel like this day so quickly.
So you see she does have some physics like on her hair and on her sleeves, but if you compare that to the physics, well, actually, we don't need to look at this one anymore, on her hair and sleeves now, you're gonna see there's just a lot more happening, especially with the sleeves. So here she's gonna demo the skirt. And there's so much physics happening. So there's like the bows, the skirt moving side to side. And really interesting with the, well, she'll zoom out a little bit more, but we'll look at the legs. It's one of the things that you can do because, okay, you probably know how these things work, but if you don't, there's a different Photoshop layer here. So on the top, this is the Photoshop layer, and then the legs are going to be on a different Photoshop layer. So when you can move these independently because it won't impact the layer above them. If you go back to here, I don't know if she ever zooms down on this one. Oh yeah, she does do a zoom down. Let's see if we can find that spot. We'll see if we can see how much leg action there is on the old one comparatively. They're both karaoke streams, so it's very funny how much the little has changed and how much hasn't. So you see, these legs don't really move separately from the body, which mine don't either. I didn't bother with that because I didn't feel like you were going to see my legs all that often. But this they're basically just static, right? So this is moving. This isn't moving, but the skirts are moving a little bit. I'm glad that she gave this view of us to see. If you compare that to the side to side here, I keep clicking on the wrong video. This now has a lot of bounce and a lot of motion going on. And when I was talking about like boob physics in animation, which hers aren't really overtuned at all. It's more about the skirts and the sleeves with her. But I was talking about that. I was talking mostly about how much life it adds to stuff to have this physics toggle and to have the secondary motion that gets added when you add physics to something. So that includes stuff like sleeves and bows and hair. So now when she moves around, you get a lot of jiggle from the sleeves and the bows on her shirt and the hair. And that all adds like a lot more, you know, they always say bounciness, but it adds a lot more life to the rig and gives it like a little more energy when she moves around. Now this part is really interesting here. I mean, I'm not doing this to be a pervert and like, oh, look at the boobs. But the fact that there's like a three-dimensionality when she turns to the side, because it shows off the body like in a more formed way. So there's a little bit of a three-dimensionality when she turns from side to side here. Now this is tricky because this bow is overlapping with this part at the top. So you can see that it doesn't move at the exact same rate, but it's still got a lot of wobble to it, so it's nice. But see, you don't see that side to side motion on the previous rig. If you go back to the other rig, when she turns to the side, you don't get that same side to side motion. All the singing is really good, but I don't want it to focus too much on the singing. It's very much like just the front view. And it's hard to get right. Like, I mean, I don't think it's necessarily right on mine, so don't like even say like, oh, you didn't do it right either. Because when you turn to the side, you gotta like rotate everything. It's like it's not exactly easy to do. You know, it can be difficult. So the fact that there's that very nice, and I think potentially, like if you look at this art where this is right now, I'm like getting right in there. You don't see like another piece when she turns to the side, but here there's like another piece. So I think there might have been an added like back piece to support that rotation. See what I mean? There's like an extra piece of the back that's like behind the sleeve. It kind of helps that rotation and shows the side of her torso right there. Now, I think she's going to go through some of her expression toggles, and these are mostly new, so they're really cool to look at, too. I will zoom in. Wait, I think she takes a second to go. She puts the arm down, which is neat. I don't know if she could do that before. She put the arms down. It's extra work. Mine don't do that either. Although she does the little ghosty arms. Ghosty arms up.
Yes, I'm a ghost. Boo! Yes, 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 yes. You guys get it. You guys. Yes, you guys love it. You guys love it. I knew it. I knew it.
Boo!
I knew you guys would be.
That's how ghosts cheer.
Would be.
Ghosts say boo.
Patrons of good cultured taste. I had a feeling.
So another thing that's really tricky to do with VTuber is the turning of the head to the side. So here you can see her head turning from side to side as well. And people made some jokes about her nose because, you know, on her older model, her nose was a lot harder to see. So she's actually got a pretty dimensional like nose now, and she can, when she turns the side, you can see it like turn sideways, which is really cool.
I have 3 videos uploaded. So today is my first video. So after 3 streams, most likely, I think, probably. Anyways, hello. Thank you. You are a
So the head angles on this model are again a little more powerful than the head angles on this one, even though it's the same art. Just because when you rotate the head, you've got to actually move like every facial feature to match up with the rotation of the head. And I think the trickiest part is up and down. Side to side is tricky, but up and down is trickier. So there she can see she turns her head to the side a little bit, but it is way more extreme and more defined on the new model as well. So you can see a big difference in that.
Dono sounds are from 3 years ago. It's so weird hearing.
I'm gonna go forward to where she does her expressions. I don't know when she started doing it. I thought it was sooner in the stream than that. Maybe she just chatted for a little while.
I was gonna introduce again, so I'm a little more shy.
That's the good movement right there. The hair has a lot more physics on it as well. Oh, there's timestamps in the comments. Excellent. You can maybe scroll down to that then. That's a good bounce, though. So, one of the things that I've noticed on this rig, and I think this might just be an art limitation, because this is super... Oh, there we go. She's doing smug face. She's doing some faces. This might be an art limitation. I do think it looks a little weird when the hair bounces up and down. And I think that might just be because there's, like, not another layer behind it to, like, play with. That's really hard to do as well, but the trick to it is whenever you do squash and stretch, and I'm guilty of this, like especially the first time I did my boob rig, it wasn't quite right. I think I've tweaked it a little bit more. But whenever you do squash and stretch, the volume of the surface needs to remain the same. So there might be a point, I think, where it like bounces down without squishing from side to side, and it looks like the hair is just kind of getting longer. But what I do like about it is that all the different layers of the curls give it so much life that it's moving a lot, and that's just really fun to watch. It's that bounciness. This is probably hard to work with, the way this is like all the way at the top, but you have to wiggle the bottom. Because I know it was hard to work with on my hair, so... Because it's pinned all the way up here. That's probably pretty hard to work with. Like, in terms of just... In terms of, like, getting the bounce to look right and everything. So it came out really cute. Like, the side to side here. Normally, when you're doing the hair mounts, you have, like, maybe 3 different meshes on here. So I don't know how familiar you are with Live 2D, the way it works, but, like, basically you put, like, a deformation mesh on here, and then you put, like, deformations. So they recommend at least 3 different deformations. One to do, like, little micro movements, and one to do, like, the bigger, broader movements, and then, like, one in between. So that you get, like, the variety of, like, small movements at the end, and, like, big shifting movements at the top. So the ways that I've seen a lot of it done is there's multiple deformers on here. So you get that, like, little micro movement at the bottom, where it's, like, a little more subtle. And then the when the whole thing is bouncing, you get the whole thing moving.
But for now, gonna be mostly sticking to this outfit.
So the little micro movements down the bottom is, like, where you see that.
At the moment, I don't plan on using it. I'm sorry.
Let's go down to the timestamps and see when she does the...
Really outdated and kind of embarrassing to use it.
And she does the expression faces. Oh, I don't see it.
Matara was very generous to even get me rigged again.
She did talk a little bit about it in the podcast, which I'm not deliberately not going to watch the whole podcast because it's like chatting to over just chatting, which is like a little bit redundant. Although I know somebody wanted to hear my opinion about it, but I'm more interested in talking about the art just because I can talk over that more easily without feeling like I'm talking over Mint, so to speak. No, I feel her. I didn't say this when she did the redebut the first time. I think the eyes are a little more watery than is to my personal taste. But I think it works for a ghost theme. I think a lot of YouTuber riggers they do like the really like wet eye look. I don't know how else to explain it, but like a lot of bouncing physics reaction in the pupil. Eyes don't really do that. Like they contract and expand a little bit as light enters the eye, but this it's a little bit it's a little bit much for me. But I've gotten used to it, I think, just because. But one of the things that I will say, it is really cool and really subtle and hard to do, is when somebody turns to the side, and you may not. The eyes are actually yeah, it's not as jelly as some of the eyes I've seen. Eyes actually are inverted, right? Like the print of your eye. Oh wait, she's doing the thing. That's so cute. The print of your eye, like your iris, is on the inside of a sphere. It's not on the outside. So when somebody turns to the side, and it's really really well done in this. And I don't know if I've always nailed it in my own art. It's tricky. But when they turn to the side, it should actually feel like like the iris is on the back of a sphere as opposed to the front, so that turns in like a invert like a concave way is the way I want to put it. So you can see how this pupil is actually more to the left because it's concave, so this curves this way. And you actually have to like do that, as the rigger. You have to put that on there yourself, so it looks really neat. Really good example when she does that moving around just now, how it shows the eye, the dimensionality on the eye. You never thought about that when drawing eyes? Yeah, when you're 3D modeling an eye, it's tricky because you got to actually invert this shape. So you basically make two spheres when you're 3D modeling an eye. You make a outer sphere that has the lens, which actually sticks out just a little bit, and then you make the inner sphere that has the iris, and that's inverted. It's backwards. It's inside out, basically. Again, a lot of this stuff I know from 3D modeling as opposed to from drawing. So that's one of the reasons I don't always get it right when I'm drawing. But you can see the way that see how it's like concave. That's like perfectly done. So she can hit her shocked eyeballs. Oh, she'll do her toggles here. People are already asking, do you have the toggle? Because this particular artist is like infamous for doing a Hegao toggle on all of the models. And she does, but she like split it up into two different expressions where she does the hard eyes and the cross-eyed, but not at the same time. Well, that was very funny. They're important. I think you should always cause discomfort in people's daily lives. There we go. There's the little circle eyes. Those are pretty. Those are ghosty eyes. That's an example of something you'd have to do to update the art. You'd have to actually alter the art, by adding another layer so you could swap. But it's a relatively simple drawing to do, so it's fun. Now, I don't know anything about, for obvious reasons, I don't know anything about the program that Nijisanji or Hololive uses to actually motion capture the characters. But I use VTube Studio, as do a lot of indie VTubers, and I do know how that one works. And it looks like she now has a VBridger update as well, which gives you that better motion, better facial tracking on the mouth and eyes. VBridger lets you do like the sideways mouth kind of stuff, and it also lets you to track tongue and a few other things that make it a little bit better tracking, especially for lip sync. So her lip sync motion is pretty good. When you're actually drawing lip sync, there we go, that was really good, right? She opens her mouth like that. When you're drawing lip sync mode, you have to do what's called phonemes. The phonemes are basically the shape that your mouth makes whenever you're trying to. Yeah, she's VTuber from Vbridger. Yeah, that's what it looks like to me. Last time I tried to track tongue, my tongue is not tracked. But I do have phonemes and Vbridger. I can do that. But so she's got that going on as well. The Vbridger is just a better tracker. Some people will say it's much more precise for your eyes, which it probably is. But it's also like much more precise for the mouth because it lets you do like a lot more with your mouth. And it has some other toggle options you can use too, like cheek puff, where she does like a little pucker at some point. So you can see that in this as well. Really cool detail on the mouth when she turns to the side and the mouth is open. You can actually see the bottom teeth curving. That's like a whole thing to do. That's tricky. When you're doing your mouth rigging, you have to actually match like the shapes that your mouth makes when you're making sound. So like a is like that, and a oh is like that, right? You have to do all those. So this has been re-rigged to accommodate all that, which is especially good if you're singing because you're going to be able to see like her mouth motions really well when she gets into karaoke. Here's another thing that's tricky too. When her head goes down, you can still see her smile being tracked. Oh, and there's a really little pucker as well. Yeah, it's a lot of work. So I'm pointing that out to like showcase the differences. If somebody's a really talented rigger, how much they can match up the different mocap. What I used to do, I used to do a lot of lip sync animation like manually, back when you had to do that. And we had this tool called Mockingbird that you basically would map all the characters' phonemes into that, and then you would run the audio track. And the audio track would run through all the phonemes in the words and match the mouth. That was for like animation that's pre-rendered as opposed to animation that's like live like this. So the tools have come a long way because now it listens to your voice and maps the phonemes directly from what you're saying, which is crazy. Used to be you had to like process the track through the phoneme processor and it would process the audio. So it works kind of a similar way. You can use your microphone for phonemes, or you can just like have it record your mouth, which is what Vbridger does. Let me see if I can get a picture to showcase the. Is this a Disney one? It has I don't know. It's got Disney. It's got Disney font. Looks like that. So you have to match up the shapes that the mouth makes. So e o u. And my ooh probably isn't. It's very hard to get my character's mouth to make that shape. And then this one has the tongue in front, so la 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 la, which you have the tongue in front. So there's not a lot of different shapes, but they're distinct when you get them matched on the character like that. So that's just like another little bit of trivia for you if you ever want to know like how those things are done. Eyebrows are a really important part of facial expression. Like, it's really important to get the tracking right on eyebrows, because they add a lot more life to the face as well. Because just the shape of the eye usually isn't enough. So the different eyebrows really add a lot. Zoom out to the model. So before, when I was showing off the legs, this has the full steppy now, so it does the step from side to side. Now, depending on how the art is done, I've seen this rigger also do full walk cycle. In fact, I know that he did it for Matara Khan's newest model. I'm gonna jump into that one real quick because it's like an interesting thing to see. Although, and I know this is something I've said before as well, but like, I think it's a really cool flex. I would never use it on a stream. Where's the walk cycle? It's in here somewhere. Yeah, so she's got like a side to side, which is, and then she's also got like walking, which is such a flex. I would never use it on a stream. I don't know. I mean, it just seems like it's a cool party trick, and then you use it twice, and then you never use it again. But you'd have to have the art set up specifically to allow for that kind of thing, and it doesn't look like her art is set up quite that way. But the steppies, they're separated under the skirt, so that's not too bad. That's you can do. Nice pause. Oh, pause right on the booba, didn't I? Yeah, you know, I paused at a good spot. That's not a weird spot. And I know she zoomed on it before, but now her stocking does a little drip effect. Does a little dripping. She's an ectoplasm. Yeah, you could do like specific skits, right? Like you really wanted to do a walking cycle skit. It's such a flex for the animator. Faces are what I really want to see. Let's look at the face toggles. It is chocolate. I know. It's because she's choco mint. There we go. My thighs are dripping. What a line to say, Mint. My thighs are dripping.
Maybe my ectoplasm a little bit.
Yeah, see, it's ectoplasm. It's chocolate, but it's ectoplasm at the same time.
Even the chocolate is possessed.
Ghost chocolate. She's the haunted chocolatier.
Yummy. Except it's not for licking. It's decoration.
Not for licking. Guys, it's not for licking. Don't lick it. No matter how tempted you are. No licking.
Okay, I have.
Blushing, which is good. Very important.
This is how I'm feeling this whole time with so many people.
Is poison? Oh.
Actually,
It would be really rude to just get down on your knees and lick your VTuber's legs, so I could see why you probably wouldn't want to actually do that.
In my brain, there's only two of you guys. At least two. Yeah, exactly. Don't say.
She made chocolate different thighs, expects people not to. She didn't. Well, I mean, she has. She can turn all the way red. All of the red.
We're just typing really fast. Yeah.
Extremely red.
Don't say it.
About 7. About 8 people.
I can blush even more. I can blush a lot of it.
I like the way that it wipes up the face. That's funny. It's like a meter rising. Okay, this part I'm just gonna watch all the way through, I think, because I like watching the toggles part. Her ears don't blush, though. That's an oversight. There should be, you know, ears blush, too, when you get really flushed. That's not me being critical. I think it'd just be cute. Ears are so hard to work with, too. Ears are tough. Mine are kind of hidden by my hair, which I tried, like, having them pop out more, and it looked weird. It's just hard to work with, so, like, they're only visible some of the time. But one of the reasons that you see a lot of VTubers that have, like, a piece of hair, like, right here, is it isn't just for the movement, but it also, like, kind of helps hide the seam of the ear a little bit where it connects to the head. Because it's really tricky to get the 3-dimensionality on the ear when you turn sideways. They don't all. There are some where it's not hidden, but it can be actually a useful thing to add like a little more 3-dimensionality. See, there we go. See when she turns this side, you can see it. It just gives it one more layer to add like a little more 3D effect. Because when you turn to one side, the head has to cover the ear, but obviously when she turns this way, the ear has to be in front. So you have to do some either masking or you have to swap layer order depending on what you do. I think masking's the easier method. With layer order, I felt like I got some pop in.
It was the pizza delivery man. Oh, it was Ryan Gosling. When I'm on the plane.
When does she do the facial other facial expression?
I usually watch one of, or actually, I usually watch 2 movies for sure, or 3. Actually, 3 movies for a long time.
All right, we're gonna skip ahead a little bit.
I think I get it because of La La Land.
There we go. This is coming up where she does the rest of her toggles. She's gotten so distracted talking about movies. That's exactly how streaming is, man. You just babble. I talk too much all the time.
Sorry. Ryan Reynolds is dead.
I like her fangy. There's a point at which she changed her. Maybe she had like an older headband that had like a little ghost on the front. Because I think she puts it on at some point.
Hollywood actors. Hold on, I'm gonna mute so I can eat.
Eating on your debut. There we go. We got some expressions.
You guys are way too generous. Holy cow. Now, what do you think of making Old Bob's members only? That's an idea. That is an idea that I can think of. Thanks for the suggestion. Oh my god.
I don't even know how to do that. Make old VODs members only. I guess it's because my YouTube channel doesn't have memberships on it, so I don't know what the technique is. I do have a YouTube channel. I will upload this to the YouTube channel later, after I'm done with the stream. I thought this was gonna be short, but it's already an hour. I know I always take longer than I think I will when I'm gonna talk about stuff. I'm not gonna watch the whole thing. I'm only gonna watch 56 minutes of it. Yeah. You know. There we go. So she's doing the eyeballs. The really wet eyes. And the crying tears!
Oh god! My eyes are so wobbly.
The teary eyes. The dripping tears is another serious flex. That's a really cool trick, especially when it's like the way they like streak down the chin and follow the chin. You see what I'm pointing out? That's really cool flex. And they like drip off and the splatter? That's a really neat effect. VTube cry is always weird. I mean, I have a cry toggle. It's one of those ones where if you hit it too often, it seems insincere. But times when you just gotta be sad on stream, you know? I love this! Her alarmed face is great. Such a great toggle! Wait, we're on commercials. If those of you that are here for now, they're on ads, so yeah, the alarm face is great. This is a... Yeah. It's way more shocked than her previous shocked expression, because if you look back at like this is about as shocked as she got, so this is still a good shocked face. I mean, she's still like, whoa, I mean, it's still good. But it doesn't have the shrinking eyes, like the shrinking crazy eyes. The shrinking crazy eyes adds like so much to the shocked expression. It really looks like she's offended. Hi, baby, how's it going? This is me when I log into the Discord and see everything that you guys are saying. Yeah, seriously. normal.
And then this is me. This is me. What the hell? Oh my god.
Oh, also people were just uploading random gifs to her.
Naked men.
People were uploading random gifs to her for his Streamlabs, so we don't even know what kind of weird messages we're gonna get.
Oh my gosh. This is me.
I'm talking about the animation, Vivi, in case you're wondering why we're watching this video a second time. Because I want to talk about the toggles and animations. The dead inside view.
Maybe I didn't need to join the Discord.
Don't join the Discord. the cringe dead inside. She isn't monetized yet, yeah. Yeah, she said she didn't have enough videos uploaded to be monetized.
Thank you for that, Daniel, thank you. Oh gosh. There's gonna be, wait, I don't even know how many donations there are. I'm scared. Uh-oh.
She's worried about the donations.
I declare bankruptcy.
Soras, I think that's somebody who hangs out with us. Sporting.
Sorry.
He's been around here before. Where is her next toggle that she shows?
Might be a mistake.
She's way zoomed in. There it is. Okay. The hard eyes. She was so nervous to do the hard eyes. It looks cute. It looks really good. I know that this is part of the full Aga How suite because she's also got the blowing smoke out of her mouth coming with it when she pushes the button again.
Oh my gosh. Okay, but the worst part is
So when she blows the smoke out of her mouth when she does that.
Why is there steam coming out of my mouth?
Too thirsty. Too much steam. Too steamy.
Why? Hot pot.
When she sees hot pot.
This is me seeing corn soup. I want some more. It's cold outside. True. And you don't want to see if I combine it.
Smug face. I like what this does to the eyebrows. I like this, the DreamWorks eyebrow motion that's going on. Oh yeah, so in a couple weeks we're gonna play 316 Cards Among the Stars. Pretty good stuff, right? Pretty fun game. I'm gonna tweak it a little bit to make it exactly Helldivers, but because I think it should be exactly Helldivers. I haven't done any of those tweaks yet because I'm running D&D tomorrow. So I gotta prep the D&D first. Oh right, so that's a V-Bridger. See how she moves her mouth to the side a little bit? No, don't hit them both! Don't hit them both! So another thing about VTube Studio is that you can have two expressions at the same time. So if you accidentally... Yeah, so those modules were really good. I just don't know that they're all like super beginner friendly. I don't know. I think it's because what I want to do is sort of teach like we have a player that's brand new, but I'm going to hold on to that pudding fair one would be really fun to do with a slightly more experienced group, I think.
These gifts are so cursed. I completely forgot that was a thing. I turned it off.
That's fair. That's fair.
It was a thing for Streamlabs to be able to do that. No, we are not.
Don't take it personal, like. I think I just wanted to run one that I'd already prepped because I know what I'm doing with the one I've already prepped. Yeah. Plus, dungeon crawls are really hard to do for me without a physical map. Okay, Spice still has my physical map. Still after all this time.
I do have Fortnite because I got Snake, but I have to change my name on it. My name right now is something ridiculous.
On roll 20? Yeah. If she can stick her tongue out, that's an important toggle to have.
I'm not gonna open my mouth all the way though.
See, if she pushed the hard eyes and the tongue out at the same time, then we'd be in trouble. We can't do that. That's cute, though. That's really cute. So that's what I meant by the tongue tracking. Although I think it might just be a toggle in her case. I don't know. It's possible to get Bridger to notice when your tongue is out. Could be either of those things.
Please, it's my birthday.
Mine doesn't do it though. I have to add that feature.
Who's Sammy? Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh, it's been so long. Hello!
She's got a couple others here.
Hello! Oh my gosh, so many people have come back. Hello, hello. I think that was all I had. Oh, I can. Top Gun! Yeah, baby. Oh my god, wait, Jaketo, you sent the other one before too. The other gift. Love it when Tom Cruise. Oh, I missed it. Wait. Shows that the mission is possible. Stop.
Sorry, I'm waiting for her to show the next toggle. I know she does a couple more. There we go. Very smug.
Oh, I also
extremely smug.
I showed this one earlier.
Being a ghost.
Empty. No thoughts. Nothing going on behind my brain. And also, I like this one.
Very smile. So eyes shut. Smug smile. She has one with the eyes like pointed toward the center too, like a big cringe. I don't know if it's in the
I can also. Oh, that's not everything. Oh my god.
the demo reel maybe.
I can also.
Yeah, there we go. That's the one I was waiting for. The pucker face. And the cross eye, I think she also shows off.
That's the best one, you think so? The gifts. What is it? It was Ryan Reynolds again. Oh, I can also.
So I think if you combine that and the hard eyes, you get something very sus. But since it's like by itself on a different toggle, she could just do that, which is funny. It's a really good illustration of the shape of the eye thing that I was talking about earlier, because you can really see it when she like screws them sideways. Like you can see how they're shaped on the inside.
I think that's everything. And now I think maybe. Oh,
if I go back to this video for a second, you can see how the rigger. Oh wait, let's.
Be a little bit sweaty.
Sweating.
I'm sweaty.
Sweat dripping down her face. It's so the sweat's very subtle.
Sniffa. Hey, that's my ectoplasm.
Don't sniff the ectoplasm.
Too much for a mint sweat bottle. You don't want it. You don't want it, microwave.
And Chibi. Oh, she's gonna show off the Chibi. Let's wait for that.
Okay. Are we ready to sing?
Do Chibi.
I feel a little less nervous, but.
She'll do the Chibi real quick.
How are we feeling?
I like this playing to be not quite as subtle. I think it'd be better if it was a little more high contrast. It does feel very subtle. It could maybe be a little bit brighter. I think it's just because it's supposed to be like, it's transparent. It's not like blue or anything. It could be ectoplasm. She could have green sweat. She could have ghost Slimer sweat if she wanted. She's a ghost. Yeah, it could be a little less transparent. I see the point of that. We can all aspire to. Yeah, Gav's Bettle's sweat toggle is crazy. Yeah, that's a really good example of the sweatiest VTuber.
To watch me switch back and forth, so it's kind of like body of horror.
He's got like a very oh, the Chibi. Yeah, it is.
But
Doesn't like to change into a Chibi on screen because it makes your whole head. Alice has the Chibi toggle down too. Big head. She's got the Chibi form. It's so cute. Just giant eyeballs.
Oh, I was gonna say. Oh yes, I was saying I loved Yu's rigging so much. You as my papa was the best ever. But I mentioned this. Sorry, I know I keep saying that. I've said it in the podcast. But
Maybe at some point she did, yeah.
But
Well, it's in the demo reel, I believe.
Because we had to get it done so quickly.
Mm-hmm. This is part where she said the old rigging wasn't done.
It was.
Oh, and that's the other thing I noticed about the Chibi. One sleeve being bigger than the other sleeve.
With this, I was able to get a bunch of stuff that I had originally wanted.
It's a funny little cartoony touch to have the irregular sleeves like that.
And I do steppies. Tip top, tippy top. Give 'em
The old razzle dazzle. Yeah, Chibi's really cute. I love that he went with the asymmetry. It's really clever. It's cute. And that's like another one of those principles of animation that I was talking about. Like the asymmetry adds a lot. So every VTuber, you're gonna see at least a little one asymmetrical thing because it adds so much to have that like not perfectly mirrored.
Do kids still play Roblox?
Yeah.
What is
They
Gen
do.
Alpha play now?
Kids still play Roblox.
Roblox and they do? Yes? I have no idea.
I'm pretty sure in this showcase, she does. Yeah, there we go. Just like that, she pops the Chibi, like right on screen. Let's look at it one more time. She goes up, and it pops a giant head. So I don't know what causes the sleeves to go asymmetrical because I noticed that sometimes they are and sometimes they aren't. I don't know what that's on because on this toggle, when she Chibis, it looks like they're both the same size, but on this one, and I feel like I noticed it prior when she was in her regular size, sometimes they go asymmetrical. So I don't know.
I only know that line from
I don't know what causes them to go asymmetrical.
Roblox.
Can anybody sense a pattern to that yet? That's something I haven't quite figured out. They're definitely asymmetrical in this. You didn't notice it before? It's just one of the things that I keep an eye out for because it's an animation principle thing. If she would zoom back out again. But that now I noticed that in this Chibi, when she backs up, you're gonna see that one's bigger than the other. But on the showcase when she does it, it's not. They're not asymmetrical. So there must be a toggle for it.
In fact, I only haunt this one maid cafe.
When did she zoom back out? There we go. See how that's totally different.
How can they see with sequins in their eyes?
It's such a random thing to notice. And then here it doesn't look like it looks like they're the same.
I look like a baby. I'm the baby.
Does it ever show her with the sleeves down in this showcase? Now I'm wondering, does it show the sleeves down?
What is Gen Alpha play now?
Oh, and that's another really cool flex that I'm seeing a lot more of lately is the leaning forward. That is so nice and dynamic. I'm sorry, I'm clicking back and forth between like 13 videos. That's so dynamic, the leaning forward. It's really cool. Not in this one that you saw, the sleeves down? Yeah, this one they stay up the whole time. They do go down. She can lower them now, though. Oh, there we go. Now it's down. Right? Nope, it is actually down. Just wait till her head moves to the side. See how she's got the other arm down? And she got her hand out. So yeah, they do go up and down. There we go. Yeah. So I think some of these are combined toggles. Because this is a different... The crying to the side is a different toggle this is a different toggle, but then I think when she puffs her cheeks, that's a different toggle. And that one she did not show off, I don't think, on the stream. So there's a couple that she didn't show. And that one she did show. Corn soup. And then that's the chibi again. And you can buy the chibi with the blank eyes and all that other stuff, so... A lot of different... Oh, and that's the other expression. I've seen her use this on stream, but I don't think she showed this off on this other stream. Like, the really squinty eyes. There, that right there. I saw her use that on the stream the other night, but I don't think she used it on the return karaoke stream.
I have no idea. Nobody put.
So she's got a lot of expression toggles.
You know, I only know that line from
Which is cool. There's a lot of expression toggles on this now.
Okay. I guess
See if she goes back to her normal size again.
I wasn't entirely honest with you guys. When I said I was going to go work at a maid cafe, I lied. In fact, I only haunt. Hold on.
Nope, I'm back to normal.
Before singing, I'm an idiot. I should have done this at the beginning of the stream.
To the slides. And if you look at the old one, it's gonna be jarring at this point because there's not as much motion on this at all. She's like, oh, she's singing, which is good. I'm not gonna blast the audio for fear of DMCA, because I don't know necessarily if this is gonna remain archived. But you can see there's just not as much like turning to the side and wobbling around and everything else. Now before I switch gears, there's one other thing that I wanted to point out about all this, which is when I was talking about rigs earlier, and I did like the video from Shylali's archive, one of the things that Shylali talked about was how different performers bring the same rig to life, because depending on who's doing the puppeting, you do get like a bigger variety or a lesser variety or like more or less expression on the face as the character. So every VTuber is a combination of the toggles that are being used to activate expressions, the expressions that are available to the model and how it tracks, and then the actual puppeteer and how they're working the model. And it would be a cool opportunity if, hypothetically, we could see what this performer looks like on a completely different VTuber model. I think that would be educational. Maybe. So, I think I might have that.
Alright, guys.
Oh, that's wrong, actually. Sorry, that's actually wrong. That is incorrect. Hang on. That's her. Okay, so... Sorry, I just did this for the prank, but... You guys remember Solen Tatsuki? She used to stream, right? There was this really funny bit where they swapped models. And the thing that you notice immediately is that Pongbu, who is driving Solen at this moment in time, opens her eyes very wide a lot. In a way that, let's just say the original performer does not necessarily open her eyes so wide all the time. So this is an iconic image, I'm sorry. But just the fact that she, like, opens her eyes so wide and is constantly, like, doing this. It is very funny. And she's also, like, pretty smiley. She grins a lot during this. Now, of course, she's doing very funny things, but,
I would rather be... playing Apex.
Totally different model. Totally different model.
1 second, let me go change.
Oh, and then she shows off the boobs, because that's really important.
I'm not shitting my pants anymore. Do you want to see? Do you want to see a real show? Oh my god, the side titty.
So she has her eyes open in a way that when Selene's performing, she doesn't open her eyes as wide. So they tend to be more half closed like that. It's just a matter of like facial expressions and how they're driving. The smile is very funny. It's not what she would normally like do with her expressions, but I thought it was extremely funny to look at this toggle because when you see the same performer
I'm Selene right now.
operating a different puppet, you still see some of their like own life shining through, I think. And you're definitely seeing it with this. You can still see some of that same life shining through this model when she does the gestures and turning. It's funny. It's a funny bit. When she turns upside down.
Oh, help me!
I don't know how this happens, by the way. I don't know how they get turned around and upside down like that. I don't know how their thing works. They get rotated. But apparently it's easy to accident. And once you get rotated, it's very hard to unrotate it. I don't know. So, this is Doki driving this model with the eyes there, like she kind of blinks a lot more. They do it by accident and don't know how it works. Is that what it is? Yeah, she accidentally turned it.
If you don't be on them once a stream, they'll start to unsubscribe. Yeah.
I forgot just how raunchy they got when they were doing this crazy stuff. This stream is such a funny prank. Look how like she has her eyes open so wide this whole time. It's just and her eyes are more sleepy. It's just a matter of like the way their expressions are like driving the puppet. You know, she's doing this a lot. So it's so cute that she got like the full where when she does like the super shocked eyes. There we go, like this look, because it's such a funny expression. Oh, she's got the sweat on here too. You can see that sweat. It's very subtle. You're right. It could be a little bit darker. Also, the mouth being pinned to the brown, which I can't do because I'm too happy right now. But you can imagine it. Yeah. That.
This is me. This is me. What the hell? Oh my god. I was like, why are there naked men? Nintendo, you need yen. It's like 300 yen. No, 500 yen.
Now she's singing and crying and crying and weeping and crying and weeping and singing. I'm only here for the teared up animation, although the singing is also extremely lovely. Although she's kind of goofing. Yeah, everybody just got so choked up during this moment. I'm so happy that, you know, when this is just like, I'm not talking about the animation anymore. I'm just talking about this like from a personal perspective. I felt like when she came back, she didn't expect that there'd be so many people watching and supporting. I felt like she thought that nobody was going to continue to follow her. You know what I mean? Like she seemed very shy about it. She seemed very like, I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know if people will come. I don't know if people will watch. And one of the reasons that it was so important to me to watch is to give her that, you know, like, hey, you know, we still care about you. So everybody kind of had that moment, I think, and felt good about watching it. And that's one of those times when you can go ahead and hit that tear toggle and it doesn't come across as insincere, because I think everybody was kind of in their feelings at that moment. Although I gotta be careful with the audio on this because I don't want Twitch to say, I gotta mute you. You're gonna get DMCA'd for playing karaoke audio. Although I don't think I got demonetized for talking about this earlier, so we'll just let it go. But yeah, I mean, I can imagine that, right? I think if you know, working for a big company, I want to know who yelled at her. Yeah, I hear you. Working for a big company in general can be very stressful. There's a lot of pressure. Maybe there's like a lot of, especially in her case, there was a lot of eyes on her, but also, um, I think on all of these VTubers, there's a lot of eyes on them, but just like internally, there's a lot of eyes on you, right? Like you've got pressure coming from managers and your bosses and everything. I've never worked for like a big entertainment company, but I've worked for large corporations, without going into details. And there's a lot of, you feel like you're maybe the politics. Yeah, can you imagine getting performance review as a VTuber? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you think they did that? Do you think they had performance evaluations? They'd sit down and be like, hey, here's where your subscriber count is. Here's where your, I don't know. I don't think we'll ever know unless, you find it, unless you really get a chance to talk to somebody about how the process works. Maybe it's better that we don't know. Maybe we don't need to know all the ins and outs and gory details of that. I mean, it's enough to see those contracts, right? Since the contract kind of got leaked and people were talking about that, it didn't seem like it was very it didn't seem like it was generous to the performer, right? It seemed, yeah, he covered her contract. Yeah, it didn't seem like it was generous to the performer, in the sense that the company really owns your ass when you're working with those big companies. They own all the stuff you make. They own the way you present yourself. They own all your merchandising rights. They pretty much just own you for that period of time. So it's one thing to say like it's the brand, because it has to be a big leap going from like kind of being a smaller indie and like suddenly having all this brand power, and then going back and realizing, it wasn't just the brand power that was making people interested in you. I think that that's a journey that you would have to go through no matter who you were, because it seems like being part of the brand power is where you get so much juice and so many followers and so much excitement around you. And even though what people really watch a VTuber for is the performer, people watch a VTuber, people stick around for the performer, but people tune in initially because of the clout of the new wave. Like that's what brings people to start, I think. But then what brings people to stay is something different. But I don't know, because I don't know what it's like to go through that process. But it is really good that she seems really happy and also like is getting the support that she needs to like successfully indie. So I don't know if she'll even, she said she's sticking around for the summer, and it's not summer yet. It's really only spring, so all summer, and then we'll see where things go. But I'm really excited to have her back and doing karaoke's. Her karaoke's content is just the bomb. It's just great to listen to, and one of the things that I'm not an expert on copyright. I'm an expert on art and animation, but I'm not an expert on copyright. But like I said, this is an old one, but like this karaoke is still up, because YouTube will demonetize if you sing copyright songs, but her channel's not monetized yet anyway, so it doesn't matter. So she can just leave this up. She doesn't have to delete it. Whereas stream has as to who and shouldn't join a corpo. Exactly. Because you get so many people interested in you from being part of the corpo who may not have seen your streams before, but at the same time, the corporation dictates what you can and can't stream, which can hold you back from like your true potential. And it can hold you back from like singing the songs you want to sing, or playing the games you want to play, or collabing with the people that you want to collab with. Now, granted, that's tricky too, because if somebody's in a corpo, you can't collab with them unless you're also in the corpo, or you pull some. I've seen like, especially Hollow Stars, it seems like they do a lot more like outside of corpo collabs, which is cool. But in a lot of cases you can't like be like, oh, I can't collab with this. Like it was really exciting when Pomu and Kiara got to collab, because they're both cross corpo. It was like a Romeo and Juliet, like they're both in different corpos, so they got to collab anyway. So that was really exciting. And I heard Kiara talking on her stream that it was really difficult to know how to talk about meeting up with her again, because now she can't call her Pomu anymore. So she has to figure out how to talk about their collabs. When games like collabing with Mint now. Kamei Shoujo can do outside collabs, but a lot of us have a lot more restrictions. Yeah. And I think any collab, I mean, I would assume, and this is me, I'm just guessing, this is not like insider knowledge, but I would assume that in the corpos, if they collab with somebody outside of their corporation, they do have to get permission to do that before they even plan the stream. Because I think anything that was a collab had to be planned ahead of time. And I know, like, when Hololive debuts a new wave, they're not even allowed to collab with anybody inside of the rest of Hololive for a couple of weeks until they, like, get their footing as the new wave, and then they're allowed to collab outside. But when they initially start their new wave, they're not allowed to collab with anybody outside. And yeah, it maybe even waivers too, because whose channel is it going to be on? Are you going to collab on somebody else's channel, or are you going to collab on your channel? And then it's like a brand management thing. So, you know, my brand doesn't allow for collabing with this person or whatever it is. So there could be a whole problem there too with, like, are you allowed to collab with outside people? Who do they consider a brand risk to collab with? Who knows? You don't know what their thought process is there. It could be anything. But I think there's a lot of rules about who and can't collab with who and when. And indies can get around that, right? Because we can just be like, whatever. Just grab somebody, collab with them. But I think if you're a corp, you know, because I have seen like corps and indies collabing. And even like when Selene was doing Team Snakebite, they had collabs there. And one of the things that I found people are very, I don't know, like on some of the fan discords, people don't like to have like past life conversations. Because they're like, well, I don't want to. So I'm being kind of cute about like Pomu versus Mint versus Selene versus Toki. But I think if you're in this chat, like, you know what the deal is, right? Like, these folks were in Niji Sanji, and then they moved back to their old indie accounts now that they're no longer with Niji Sanji. So nobody's like getting their pants blown off by the fact that, you know, people have different identities online. But I also think that, like, just as a person online who streams stuff, or in general, a person online, everybody kind of has to segment themselves a little bit. And Mint Phantom is somebody who had various segments, right? So when she came back, was on Twitter and did like Twitter Spaces, that was on the different account. So it's been a little bit of like, where is she gonna settle? And maybe she doesn't know. Maybe that's fine. You know? Like, it's her choice what brand she wants to ultimately ends up being, or wants to just try on for another year or two and see how it feels. But I've always thought of her as like a really talented, well, not, I want to say always, because I didn't find her until she was in Niji Sanji. But ever since I've been watching her as a streamer, I've always found her to be like really talented, really motivated, and just like a leader. So it's exciting to see her back doing music, doing streaming, and it's so exciting to see like the super cute new model. I think it came out really nice, and it's very bouncy. Mostly in the hair, which is where your eyes are going. That little fringe hair is so cute. She's just singing her little heart out. She's such a good singer, by the way. The whole karaoke part. Did you watch the second one yet from the other night? Because not that the first one wasn't good, but I think this one's even better, to be honest. This one's just banger after banger after banger. Yeah, this is a really good karaoke. If you haven't had a chance to watch this, definitely watch this. It's a very good karaoke. I was so I was so glad that it didn't get deleted and it's still up. Because I thought to myself after she's done, oh, this doesn't have to be unarchived because her channel's not monetized, so that she can just leave this up. And so she did. So that was really good. But sometimes with these sometimes with the Hololive karaoke's, like the best ones are not archived. Yeah, her voice is better off of the first stream. She said she was dealing with a sore throat, so if this is what she sounds like when she's coming off a sore throat, I mean, it's good. And she also did Final Fantasy VIII, which I love Final Fantasy VIII. If you're a Final Fantasy VIII fan, I don't know where exactly. Didn't she also say that she had taken a couple months to learn better Japanese by going to Japan? So that's cool. She did like some immersion stuff in Japan, I think. I don't know this song. I don't know what it's from. It's very catchy though. People in the chat are saying Angel Beats. I don't know this one. Do you think we're ever going to have a second golden age where all these huge big name VTubers have completed their arcs and start doing reunion tours and shit? You know, this all happened so fast, didn't it? Like, Hololive Myth debuted, what, 3 years ago now? Was it 2020? It was like in COVID, right? So we're going on the fourth year of Myth, I think. Her voice was better in the second. Yeah, it was definitely like a COVID thing because people were just kind of watching streams, right? So I think Myth started at 2020, and it's been about 4 years of like VTubing in the West. Obviously, it started in Japan a lot sooner. Yuji Sanji is a much bigger company in Japan. I thought of Hololive as kind of the biggest player because they were first to EN in terms of the EN audience, but I know Yuji Sanji is much bigger, or at least they were much bigger. I know that they've run into some potential financial issues lately, but I think they're a bigger company overall. Hololive has kind of more of that idol branding, whereas with Yuji Sanji, there's just it's more random. Like, I guess they're more of a comedy company, right? And one of the earliest VTubers, his name was Space Ghost. That's true. We did have Space Ghost. He was would you really call Space Ghost a VTuber? The first VTuber was the annoying orange. Space Ghost was a bit like a VTuber, I guess. You know what the actual first VTuber was? It was Turtle Talk with Crush in Disney World.
Jägermeister.
Right, it's ketchup.
Turtle Talk with Crush in Disney World. Have y'all ever seen it? It's the first VTuber that I've ever seen. They pitched it as like you're talking to an AI, but the actual thing was a puppet driven by a guy who was doing like a surfer dude voice, and like you would have a conversation with it, and it was like it was very cutting edge like at the time. Although now that I think about it, there was an even earlier one that was Mario, because it was like Charles Martinet driving. That was his first gig as Mario. Did you guys know that? His first gig at Mario was driving like an interactive display. And he did like the Mario voice driving this interactive Mario display that people could talk to. So was Mario the first VTuber? I mean, that's like, there's a lot of history of VTuber. Yeah, he was asked to do like the voice for this interactive display, and he was like, "Yeah, it's me, Mario," and the kids could like talk to him and stuff. And then he ended up like getting the part for real. But one of the reasons that Luigi's voice is like more pinched in the back of the throat is because there wasn't a Luigi and there was only a Mario. So anytime he had to like talk to Luigi, he'd be like, "Well, Mario's off screen, Luigi's off screen." I think it was the same time as Mario 64. I think it was like it's like at the same like type era. I want to say. Now I have to look. I don't know the exact details. He sent like a demo tape of him just babbling endlessly about Mario, and they were like, "Yeah, that's the voice we want for Mario. Sounds good." And it was like, yeah, okay. I'm reading it. I'm reading this off Wikipedia. I am correct. 1991 was the original Mario display. The system was called Mario in Real Time, or MIRT. It was developed by Sim Graphics in 1991. He could see the attendees by means of a hidden camera setup and a facial motion capture rig recorded his mouth movements to synchronize his mouth to the on-screen Mario movement. The digital puppetry was novelty at the time. Thank you. Welcome in, Gob-chan. How are you doing? We're talking about Mint, Phantom, and now I have moved into the history of VTubing. Because we had some, I was thinking, like, what was the first actual VTuber? And I think the 1991, I think that might be one of the earliest VTubers. Might have actually been Mario. Was Max Headroom a puppet? I don't know that Max Headroom was a puppet. Oh, have you guys ever seen Muppets, the Muppet 3D thing that's also at Disney World? Oh, well, then no problem. Well, hello, thank you. Next time is tomorrow, although I'm also streaming a little bit late tomorrow. I'm not starting till 9, so if you're headed to sleep now, catch me on Saturday when I stream in the afternoon. Max was a guy in makeup. Yeah, he was not a guy in makeup. I think you're right. I don't think it was a puppet. But if you've ever seen this, I'm looking at this history. Right. Well, that's not a VTuber though. That's not a VTuber. If you've ever seen, have you seen the Muppet 3D thing at Disney World? I don't know. It's been there for a super, super long time. The digital puppet in that Waldo C graphic was developed in 1988. So that predates Mario by a couple years. That predates the Mario puppet by a couple years. I'm looking at this on Wikipedia. I didn't remember the exact timeline. So that's 1988 was the first digital only Muppet. So maybe that was the first VTuber. Jim Henson did the first VTuber? What a legend. What a king. We have Jim Henson to thank. It's not Japan at all. Inhumanity is no. I don't think a real puppet counts. I think it's got to be a digital puppet. If actually the first VTuber was a Muppet, that kind of makes sense, but also kind of blows my mind a little bit. I don't know about you guys. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Waldo C graphic? Maybe you've never seen it before. The C stands for computer graphic. It's an ugly son of a bitch. Is there a video of this? Let's get a video. Let's get Jim Henson. Now we're just in the regular educational content. Oh, it's a hand puppet though. This is interesting.
So, Jojo, do you recall seeing one of these before?
Sure, that's the electronic mitten thing you use to run the radio-controlled puppets like the Doozers.
Well, it's a version of it. But in this case, what we're doing is we're using it to create the picture of Waldo on the computer screen over there.
Guys, I'm learning this along with you at the same time.
Steve Whitmire, one of our chief puppeteers, is operating this guy, but I'll just do it to demonstrate it. And over here we have Rex Grignon, who is our computer animator. Okay, and what Rex is doing is he's taking these moves that I'm doing with my hand and converting it into Waldo on the screen there. See?
Neat.
And the really great thing is that the computer does it all in real time. As Jim moves his hand around in the puppet, the image of Waldo flies around on the screen too.
So it's like Mr. Henson is working a puppet, but what you get is a moving television picture.
I'm delated.
Listen, Jojo, have you ever seen a computer graphic sneeze?
No, sir.
Oh, it's one of the wonderful sights in the world. Let me tell you. Watch this. Here we go.
Oh my goodness, you seem to sneeze your skin off.
It's VTubing!
Wireframe now.
He's VTubing!
Yeah. Very impressive. But I do feel compelled, with all due respect, to point out that the picture of you still looks pretty terrible.
The image you see on the screen is called a low-resolution picture. It's not really that good, but it's about the best the computer can do in real time.
But you see, what we can do is we can take this.
How far we've come.
And we can run it through yet another.
He has to do post-processing on it. Yeah, okay.
Stunningly beautiful like this.
Oh, yeah, they do post-processing on it.
You know, guys, when we do a 2-minute piece with Waldo, it takes the computer 120 hours to create the final picture.
Holy crap! That's crazy! It takes the computer 120 hours to create the final... Now we can just do this in real time. Now we're just doing this, like, me in front of the computer. Here's Crush. Have you seen Crush? This was the first time I saw a VTuber, I guess. You can just hear the Kermit. Yeah, he just sounds like Kermit. He's a Kermit. He sounds like Kermit.
Welcome to Turtle Talk. My name is Ash.
Well, the first time my mom saw this, she's like, "That's a computer." This is not a computer. It's a VTuber. But they've had this at Epcot for a super long time now.
As you can see up in the very corner, this special equipment is called a hydrophone. It let us hear sounds beneath the seas until
Oh, this is some bullshit. I want to see the VTuber. There we go. So this is a modern VTuber. Oh, have a good stream. Thank you very much. Have a good night. Have a good sleep. This is VTubing. So there's somebody driving this behind the scenes and he's got toggles and stuff. So he's just pushing the different toggles as he moves. And then it does facial tracking just the same way as... They've had this at Disney for a long time though. Turtle Talk debuted in... I'm still in the Wikipedia article. 2004. 2004. So that's been around for a while. VTubing. What do you want? Are there any images now? I'm wondering of the Mario one, because that was his first Mario in real time. I don't know if there's any video of that though. We'll see if we can find it. Oh no, there is video of it. There is. Well, I love the internet. I love the internet. Oh my god! Wait, you have to see this. This is really, really cool. This is them hooking up the motion capture rig to his face. I'm staring into an iPhone. This is them hooking up the motion capture rig to his face to make this work for the Mario thing. This was his first gig as Mario. Was running this interactive display. The first Mario that they did was the first talking Mario they did was this interactive Mario display. This is very experimental. There we go.
I'm very hungry. I haven't had a bite to eat all day. A bite. Get it? It's a little computer joke.
Zelda in the background. Zelda in the background.
Oh, well. I'm gonna do an impression just for you. Here's a big American affair. Butler. He's my famous friend. Watch this. Frankly, Scarletta.
It's truly VTubing. We're VTubing now, gang.
Pretty good, huh? Hey, with the camera there. What's your name?
They're playing Ninja Turtles.
Daniel. Hey, you want to see some action? Watch this. Hey, Daniel. Are you taking pictures for friends at home?
This is 1992. It's 30 years.
Say hello to Dave. Dave. Hey, Dave. We're having a big time here.
30 years ago.
Daniel,
More than 30 years ago.
to you.
Yeah.
So, hello. Daniel lost all the money at the bar last night. He drank it all up.
time. This is all happening in real time. This was a demo
Thank you so much.
for Mario 64.
You folks want to see an impression? I do an impression.
There he is in his rig.
Watch this. Go ahead, punk. Making my day.
Okay, this is the most epic video ever. This video is so funny.
Hello, Richard. How are you? I'm just having fun with you. You got fishing lures on your head there? Are those going into your head?
Absolute legend.
What do you got in the bag there?
The rig on his head is nuts. It looks so heavy and uncomfortable.
For you? Who are you with? What's the name of your company? Channel 2 News. 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody. This is Mario coming to you on a Channel 2 News. And now.
Oh, he turned into a mouse.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
He turned into the SNES mouse.
Oh, look at my tape. We're very close.
The SNES mouse. Mario Paint. Oh, that was weird.
You folks have a good time. Oh, it's Dan. How are you?
Yeah, pretty good. How are you?
All right, I'm doing fine.
All right.
Give me a good view of that helmet here. Okay.
Oh, he's getting a shot of the helmet. The different cameras.
Flying mouse?
Flying mouse, this controls Mario.
Okay, sure. Right.
Oh, okay. So moving him around is that?
I think they're just about ready here. How about that? That's
They-
incredible.
Isn't that amazing?
He moves his head around.
Wow. Do you work for Silicon
No,
Graphics?
no, I don't.
Okay.
I don't have an actor.
You do a great job as Mario.
Thank you very much.
Oh my god, that's crazy. I've never watched this video before and I'm going crazy. Look at him, it's piloting the Mario head. That, Rima, I'm not gonna, yeah, we'll watch Rima later. Okay, and that's the first time I've ever seen that. That is VTubing. That's VTubing. He's VTubing with that stupid hat on his head. Go, show the hat. That rig on his head. 1992. All right, based on this information, the first VTuber is Jim Henson. but his thing had to be post-processed to get the full result. So the first real-time VTuber is still Mario. Oh, that's so freaking cool. Mario. It's not easy being green screened. That was so awesome. I'm looking at this other list of other early VTubers. Mike Normal developed to show silicone graphics. So that was a SIGGRAPH thing. Sophisticated talking head built with a controller. Oh wow, that's crazy. Yeah, so Mario, the stuff at Disney World, and then like the earliest one was that Muppet, the Muppet Waldo computer graphic. If you've never seen that thing live, it's still in Disney World. You go to the Muppets, the Muppets 3D theater, and they have like a 3D movie where you got like the classic like 3D glasses. It was such a novelty back then when they put it in Disney World. And like he flies around the screen and like at one point like throws a pie at you and like all the gimmicky stuff that happens with 3Ds in rides and stuff. So it's kind of cool. But you would figure that like Disney and the Muppets and Nintendo would be the ones. Is that still there? Yeah, Muppet Theater is still there. They probably will discontinue it at some point. But last time I was at Disney World, it was still there. And Muppet Vision 3D opened in 1991. And then they reopened it. I think they closed it and reopened it. I'm looking at the Wikipedia, and apparently the one in Disney, the one in Disneyland closed in 2014. The one in Disney World is still open. Yeah, okay, that's what I thought, because it was still open last time I was there, and it was a couple years ago. I wasn't there. I've been there since COVID. I haven't traveled at all since COVID, but last time I was there, it was still there. And that was like in 2019. So I think they've renovated the building a couple times, but the movie is still there. But not in Disneyland. That one did close, but they still have it in Disney World. So yeah, you can see it still. And I guess that's the first like digital puppet that Jim Henson ever did. And that isn't the first time that that character was used, because it looks like the attraction opened in 1991. But this Mario is like contemporary to that, 1991. So I guess that's where VTubing comes from. I just learned myself. I just learned new things. Even though there was some stuff that I already knew, it's like I've learned new things by like putting 2 and 2 together and realizing for the first time that like this is where VTubing started. That hat is crazy. It's funny that he had to wear that like rig on his head, like all these cameras pointed at his face and everything, because now we can just do this with just one camera. We can do the same thing with just one camera. And like not even like an expensive camera, like a camera that you could easily buy yourself and have at your house. And the rig is like, I don't even need the 3D mouse. Of course, I'm not moving around. But the technology's wild. That's crazy. That's the educational portion of tonight's stream. In terms of talking about animation, talking about history, I like to talk about the stuff. And talking about Mint, who I love so much. If you're new to the stream, by the way, I do high effort educational streams from time to time. So if you like, when I do that kind of thing, let me know. It's always good to see ya. Next stream is Dungeons and Dragons. We're going to be streaming at 9 o'clock tomorrow night. So 9 EST as opposed to 8. I usually start at 8. Tomorrow's going to be a little bit later because we have some people that can't start till later. But behind the scenes, yeah. I mean, I also am perfectly happy to like answer questions about how VTubers are set up and stuff, just because I've done everything on stream. Like I literally like the first time I VTubed just like fired up like the motion capture stuff and like learned it all on stream while I left. So even though I rebranded last year and I don't lift up the curtain as much anymore as I used to, I'm perfectly comfortable talking about like the animation art and stuff like that, just like how it works and how rigging works and how the little details of getting things set up. I'm not done with the stream for today. I'm just like done with the hard stuff. And now I think I'm just going to watch a couple of videos and go for like another hour or so. And then I'm going to rest my voice for tomorrow because tomorrow's a big day. It's going to be super fun running. Well, we're explaining. I have somebody who's never played D&D before. And I have some folks that have played it a little bit. And I would like to run more D&D on this stream. So VB and I were talking earlier about how we had some modules. I think I might want to run one of those in the future. But here's the plan. We're going to run D&D tomorrow. And then in a couple weeks, I'm running Helldivers TTRPG. Oh, thank you very much. Well, welcome to the stream. Thank you for stopping by. I enjoyed having you here and talking about Mint Phantom. So if you come back, we'll see you later. I also have a YouTube.